Think of the fight or flight response. What are the two necessary and wanted emotions that you want in the presence of a bear? Two primary emotions that you absolutely want happening at an emotional, as a psychological level. Anger and? That's anger. What? Fear. You want to be as afraid as possible so that you can, that's the emotion of flight. The anger is the emotion, those are the two primary emotions that are present, that are just activated as part of this fight or flight response for good reason. If somebody's chasing you and you're like, no big deal, and he's going to mug you maybe or something like that, so it's a real danger, the last thing you want is to be apathetic or kind of like, unless you know self-defense, you want to be going, oh crap, oh my gosh. So irritability is part of that it's like a mini anger where you just, there's still some control, but it's a natural reaction to the uh-oh thought to get irritable. It's kind of an anger-related feeling.
So what about when you're so fearful, you're so afraid to move free?
That's the third. The fight or flight, this is fight or flight or freeze response, where you just, like deer in the headlights kind of thing, where that is the third thing that could be happening as a natural response to, oh crap. And it's a slightly different physiology that takes place, but it still is one of self-defense. Because, here's an interesting story. What if you are camping? You go out to, we were in Idaho a few weeks ago. We went up to McCall and we were hiking in some areas where very few people ever go. And they said, oh, there's bears here. There are bears? I don't know how you say that. There are bear here. What should you do when there's a bear comes into your campground and you're in the campground? What do they say you should do? Freeze. Yeah, they don't say, the people who know about protection against bears specifically, they say, no, you should just freeze. There was a student in here, she said, she spends a lot of time out in campgrounds and stuff, and camping, and she remembered that. She was camping one day and a bear did show up in her campground where she was, and she remembered that she should freeze, and so she went right up against this tree, and she said, and the bear came up to her and kind of just went, and I won't touch you, but I'm going to get close. And the bear kind of just went. What? She was freaking out. I mean, just you can imagine. But she said, the only thing I remember is I had to stay still because that was protective. And the bear kind of went like that a couple times, then he got bored and went away. And she was like supersonic this. But she knew freeze was the one thing that would protect her in that case. It doesn't protect us in a lot of cases during normal life, but apparently with some animals, our ancestors, that was what they did to stay alive. Okay. Is there anything else we can think of that's kind of, it's not getting in the way of our functioning normally during the day, but it still is obviously kind of what you said when you're stressed. You notice that it's stress that's bringing it on, the thoughts. What do you think?
I think like fogginess in your mind, like
oh, good.
Unclear, like confusion.
Foggy thinking. Yes? Now, Why is that the case? What's going on? We talked about this very briefly last time. What's going on such that this is going to happen in the presence of the activated fight or flight response? What's that?
It's our lizard.
Lizard brain cranks, Einstein brain disappears. The frontal lobe thinking kind of steps to the side, and the more ancient, what do they call it? The primitive brain takes over. And so, yeah, if you need to do calculus, if you're trying to run an equation and you're in fight or flight response, your body's going to go, I ain't doing that. No, I've got to get out. You're telling me I should get out of here, not solve this quadratic equation.